Now, before I start the video, I have an opinion that might be controversial. I think that the iPhone 15 Plus is a better option than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, the reason that I say that the iPhone 15 Plus is the better option is because when you look at price, specs, usability, and colors, the 15 Plus matches most iPhone users' needs. Most people use their phones for social media, to make calls, send texts, and do other things like play games, alarm clock, etc. So to anyone who wants a bigger iPhone but you don't want to spend over $1,000, I think that the iPhone 15 Plus is perfect. It does damn near everything that the iPhone 15 Pro Max does, but at a cheaper price. So in this video, I'll be sharing my experience with the iPhone 15 Plus to help you guys decide whether or not it's right for you. Now, starting with design, the iPhone 15 Plus has slightly changed up that signature look from the previous versions, which is great. They added a matte feel to the back, added USB-C, and added a dynamic island notch. And besides the nice improvements they've made, this phone looks the exact same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, from the power button, volume rockers, all the way down to the speakers. And the only thing that is different on the 15 Plus is the mute switch. But looking at its color, the version that I have is pink, and this is easily my favorite color in recent years. It has the really nice pink matte sides along with a matte pink back that gives it the right amount of depth and resulted in a really good looking device. Now, looking at display, the iPhone 15 Plus has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display that, just like the iPhone 15 Pro Max, was very good. Whenever I was scrolling through my phone, it looked very nice, everything looked good, the responsiveness was very precise, and I had no complaints about the overall feel. But the only problem that I had with it was the refresh rate. The fact that this phone is still 60 Hz is ridiculous, and I know that many people won't mind if their screen is 120 Hz or 60 Hz, but if that's the case, Apple shouldn't be charging over $900 for a below average spec. Also, whenever I was scrolling through apps, it felt a little bit laggy, and you could tell the frame rate dropped as soon as you started going through the app, so hopefully Apple can implement a higher refresh rate on base model iPhones. Going deeper into the display, the bezels are very small. Right here, you can see that they're wrapped nicely around the screen and are much cleaner overall. The pill-shaped notch is very small, and it gives the 15 Plus a more refined look. Now, when it comes to brightness, the iPhone 15 Plus is at 2000 nits peak, which is a major improvement from last year, and I really noticed the difference when I was outside. Whenever the sun was out, I had no trouble seeing the screen, and it was on the same level as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And now when it comes to the size of the 15 Pro Max, I can't say whether or not you will love it or hate it, but I do want to list some pros and cons that you can look out for. Now, the pros of having a big screen is that the viewing experience is much better. The battery is bigger, so it'll be able to last longer, and bigger phones tend to have slightly better resolution. Now, the cons of having a bigger screen is that it does make it much harder to use with one hand. Trying to simply reach to the top of the screen requires more work, and you'll need some pretty big pockets if you want to store your phone. But again, I want to let you guys outweigh the pros and cons because everyone's needs are different. Now, another problem with the display is the fact that Apple still hasn't added a fingerprint sensor. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that the iPhone has the best facial recognition in the game with Face ID, but it still would have been nice to have that extra function when unlocking my phone. The resolution and viewing experience of the 15 Plus's display is an amazing benefit. I was able to see everything very clearly when watching videos, playing games when it was as fun as ever. Now, the 15 Plus has a 4300 mAh battery that is around the same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max's 4400, and this phone was easily able to last me all day with no problem, even with heavy use. And mind you, I'm the type of person that is usually on my phone all day doing things like writing scripts, planning B-roll, shooting videos, scrolling through social media, watching YouTube videos, and texting my friends. And I'm usually getting 6 to 7 hours of screen time a day, and I only charge my phone when I'm sleeping. I didn't have to put my phone on power saving mode. Most of the time I did use it to the max, and it still was able to perform very well. So if you do get the 15 Plus, battery won't be an issue. And if I could give you guys a quick estimate, I would say that my battery is usually on 15% by the end of the day, which is still very good. And now the last thing that I wanted to touch on when it came to battery was charging. And if I'm being honest, the charging really isn't that great in terms of speed. It would take me well over an hour to get to 100%. But like I said before, you only need one charge, so I think that the long-lasting battery is a pretty great trade-off. Now, looking at software, the iPhone 15 Plus supports iOS 17, and just like on most iPhones, it has been running pretty smooth. Most of the time, the software was very sleek and worked well. It felt just like the 15 Pro Max, and I feel like most of you guys will realize that in terms of software, it's really not that much different from other models. I also tested out some games on my 15 Plus. I play Asphalt 9, which is a game that can really test out the chip, and as you can see, it held up really well, and I didn't get any lags while playing. And now the final thing that I wanted to note was that the 15 Plus will be getting 5 to 6 years worth of software upgrades, so when it comes to longevity, it's definitely got you covered. Now, just like the Pro Max, the 15 Plus has some really loud speakers that were very good whenever I used them. I would usually use them in the house whenever watching videos on social media or YouTube, and I didn't have to turn it all the way up because they were very loud on the lower tiers of volume. I tested out how they sounded when playing music, and if I'm being honest, they're very loud and the quality is still good when you turn it all the way up. I also used my 15 Plus as my alarm and I had no problem waking up from it. I didn't have to set multiple alarms and I didn't have to worry too much about receiving important notifications whenever I turned on my ringer. And right here, I'm going to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound. Now the iPhone 15 Plus has a 48 megapixel main camera along with a 12 megapixel front and 12 megapixel ultra wide, and based on my use over the past couple of weeks, I would say that the pictures look amazing. Now starting with zoom modes, the 15 Plus has a couple of different zoom modes, and of course the quality does get dumbed down a bit once you get closer, but I found all of the zoom modes to be great when compared to other smartphones. The shutter speed was very good from the start. I decided to test this out by shooting a moving car, and as you can see right here, the camera was able to capture most cars beautifully no matter how fast they were going, so I was pretty satisfied. And now looking at outside photos, we can see that they have a really great shadow of depth whenever I'm taking pictures of myself, along with a pretty nice blur, and this is scaled all the way up once I use the portrait mode that Apple has always been pretty good at. I also took some photos of random street objects, the sky, and different aspects of nature, and I can honestly say that the 15 Plus held up very well in these environments, and I'm really impressed. Now taking a look at inside photos, the 15 Plus was able to capture everything very nice, and I found the pictures to be slightly more detailed than the 14 Plus, and that's because of the 48 megapixels. Even when I'm taking selfies, you can see how the camera handles already good lighting to produce an overall nicely taken photo. My skin tone looked really good, and the sharpness wasn't too much. And now when it comes to shooting video, the 15 Plus is easily one of the best phones that you can buy in this price range. You have many different modes and frame rates to choose from. The 15 Plus shoots up to 4K and up to 60 frames per second. The video stabilization was out of this world. I shoot videos with my phone, so whenever I'm shooting my subject, I can use everything handheld and the movements are very smooth. So all in all, I would definitely say that the iPhone 15 Plus has an amazing video camera that'll give you some consistently good shots. So if you're someone who wants to shoot content or you just want a solid camera, the 15 Plus has got you covered. And also, here are some extra videos that I was able to get. So here's the final question. Is the iPhone 15 Plus a good phone to buy? Well, I would say that it's a great phone, and it should be the phone that most people go for. It does everything that the average person needs their iPhone to do, and it has a bigger screen if you're someone who wants that. But there it is, you guys. My review on the iPhone 15 Plus. Now let me know down in the comments. Do you think that the iPhone 15 Plus is worth buying over the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Let me know. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.